Welcome back to Mets Daily. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. It was great for me to be back in New York City, but we're back to the grind of Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio and all social media. Hit that subscribe button right now if you're not already. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, the big 1K. So subscribe, share to the channel with all your Mets fan friends and family, and of course, smash that thumbs up. It helps us a lot on YouTube. It's very easy, right below. Click that thumbs up. Comment below. First off, comment, what do you think about the new hats? You see it on the screen here? I put my bald head under it right now. Let's see. Boom, there it is. I love it. Listen, I think a different design. First off, I love any hat that's orange and blue. Like, the City Connect hat was cool because it had, the city skyline, but otherwise it was gray, and Mets colors aren't really gray. Oh, this is orange and blue, and it's got Mr. Met with shades on it. For me, as a fellow baldy like Mr. Met who likes to wear shades, I'm going to get this hat because it's cool, it's unique, it's different. Usually it's just the NY, which, of course, I love the original NY, but inject that Mr. Met hat in my veins. And wearing that Mr. Met spring training hat on the field in Port St. Lucie Monday, Ronnie Mauricio, man, he is a name that we have been craving to see on this Mets field, and obviously missed the whole season after the Winter League injury in 2023, tearing his ACL, out for the whole year. It's taken him a little bit while to get back on the field. Probably won't be on the opening day roster, but what a joy it was to see him on the field. And Ronnie Mauricio is a guy that you would love to be part of the future. Whether that's the third baseman of the future, the second baseman of the future, or even the designated hitter of the future. I would not rule Ronnie Mauricio being a part-time DH in 2025 and moving forward for the Mets. Yes, he has a couple different positions. He's not the greatest defender, but if the Mets are end up set on Mark Vientos at third and potentially Luis Angel Acuna at second, they got to get a spot for Mauricio here because I do think he is a spark plug. And what we saw in the brief time that we saw him in 26 games in 2023 in September is this. We saw a little bit of pop. We saw that he hits the ball hard, which nerds, sabermetric peoples, they love his exit velocity. And to me, most importantly, is his ability to run the bases. In just the 26 games, he had 7 steals. That's one every less than 4 games. And for the Mets, that's a big deal. That comes out to 30 to 40 stolen bases for the season for a team that only has one guy that steals bags consistently, and that's Francisco Lindor. So you want to get Mauricio's speed in the lineup and his ability to get on base. He hits the ball in the gap. You get Ronnie Mauricio at second, stealing third, sac fly brings him home, bing, bang, boom. That's runs. It might sound easy, but that's the effect that Ronnie Mauricio could have. And, what I saw from him in just those couple of weeks, his first couple of big league, weeks, was I really liked it. And I also liked what I saw from Luis Angel Acuna in a couple weeks, which makes you think, like, if you can see these guys for longer stretches in this season and, ideally 2026 as full-time players, they can really provide a spark. So when, David Stearns and Steve Cohen and the Mets mention internally and people might boo, I think you should cheer because I do think the Mets have a real player in Mauricio. They have a real player in Acuna. And get excited at the fact that a healthy Acuna, if at some point he is here and here for the long haul, he could be a thrill to watch. And it was great to see him on the field. He's got to get reps in games in March. Maybe an outside shot of making the roster. I think more consistent playing time in the minors at first. But listen, if the Mets do part with Starling Marte, and even if not, Marte's only here one more year. He's really the DH against left-hand pitching as currently constructed and a backup outfielder. When Marte's off the roster, whether this year or moving forward, that brings in a hole for Ronnie Mauricio to potentially play. And I'm excited to see that. Another guy who was throwing and speaking on Monday, as the Mets are 1 week away from pitchers and catchers, is Clay Holmes. And it feels like if you mention Clay Holmes to Yankee fans, they say, good luck with Clay Holmes. That's going to be fun. That's not going to be very good. I don't know. I think you got to go beyond the, some blown saves from Clay Holmes. And as I've mentioned on here, a bad manager in Aaron Boone consistently putting him out there when there were times that he struggled. And they got to realize that Clay Holmes as a starting pitcher might actually work. We don't know if it won't work. We don't know if it will work. But we go off what we've seen numbers-wise. And let's look at the numbers. Let's dive in. The last 3 seasons, Clay Holmes has been one of the best relievers in all of the sport. Yankee fans can say all they want what they saw from him and some blown saves, but the reality of the situation is this guy is really good. 2 All-Star appearances, a 2.84 ERA over the last 3 years, 204 strikeouts in those 189 and 2/3 innings pitched. In 2024, yes, he blew some saves. He still ended with a 3.14 ERA, 68 Ks in those 63 innings pitched. But here's the number that matters to me. In those 67 games, he had 54 of those appearances where he gave up no earned runs. So 54 of the 67 games, he was almost lights out. And yes, you could call him cardiac Clay. He might have put guys on base. But 54 of 67, he didn't give anything up. And like I've said on here before, he's going to add a pitch to the arsenal. And the Mets really want 5 innings out of him. If he can give them 5 innings of 1-run ball, 5 innings, 30 starts is 150 innings pitch. Obviously more than he's ever pitched in his career. But he's pitched 63 to 70 innings. So if he can double that total, he gives you 5 inning starts, some starts 6 innings. They're not going to get many as 7 or more out of Clay Holmes. That's all you can ask for out of a guy who's probably going to be the 4th pitcher in the Mets rotation and a potential bullpen piece come October. Again, David Stearns will add if they need to. If they need a starter, they will add. I know people are mad. Jack Flaherty getting 2 years, 35. Frankie Montas got 2 years, 34. Nobody envisioned Jack Flaherty only getting 17.5 for each year for 2 years. But that's just how the market's played out right now. Obviously, you'd rather have Jack Flaherty over Frankie Montas. But I think the Mets just did not see the market materializing this way. They wanted to hop on a starting pitcher early, and obviously you look at it now, yeah, I'd rather have Flaherty at this point, but the Mets made that decision very early in the offseason, so I can't really knock them for doing it at the time they did. But Clay Holmes could really be a diamond in the rough for this team, and I wouldn't rule out him having a fantastic season. I just have a feeling that working with Jeremy Hefner, Stearns' genius in getting these guys at the deal he got him at 3 years, 38, there's a chance that Clay Holmes can be a great part of this rotation. And if he is, the Mets are in good hands. In a rotation that a lot of people are questioning, the Mets might actually be in good hands. Because David Peterson at sub-3 ERA, Kodai Senga's back, Shaw Manaea had an incredible year, and you have Holmes in there and Montas as question marks. If Holmes takes away one of those question marks, the Mets have 4 really great starting pitchers, and then we'll see with Frankie Montas. Like I've said in here, Frankie Montas has been an ace at one point of his career. Can he get back to his old ways? So it's Clay Day. We're all rooting for Clay now in Queens. Yankee fans might be rooting against him. Maybe Met fans rooting him against him in the Bronx. It's time to root for Clay and hope for Clay days being great days at Citi Field in 2025. The Grammy Awards were Sunday, and it's a light week in Mets news. And listen, I don't need to really mention Pete Alonso. There's no new updates on Pete. We'll see if he's back. Like as I've said over and over on here, I'd rather the Mets move on. It feels inevitable he comes back to the Mets. He wants to come back at this point. There's no other significant offers, but there's no updates. So I got nothing today on Pete. I'm not going to talk about him just for the sake of talking about him for clicks or whatever. Again, I don't make the headlines, so don't get mad at me at headlines. That's just how it goes. I'm just Jake Brown, and I talk about the team that I love and that I've covered for the last decade. But let's give out some Grammy Awards. Now, looking ahead to 2025 and the theme of the Grammy Awards, you watched them last night. You got Beyonce winning, Kendrick winning. Let's give out our Mets Grammys, our Metsies Awards for 2025. First off, I got to mention OMG was robbed. I had to put that at the bottom there, record of the year, OMG. Now, if Candlelit is gone, as I talked about the other day, the Mets signed Nick Madrigal. It feels like Iglesias is gone. Honestly, the Yankees are a great fit for Iglesias, a team that needs a second or third baseman. I have no idea why they're not paying him. Maybe Iglesias doesn't want to go there, but I would imagine he would love to stay in New York. Best new artist. I'm going to give it to Luis Angel Acuna because I really think Acuna could play a massive factor in this Mets lineup. Whether it's at second, whether it's at third, whether it's going to be sometimes as a pinch runner, or whether it's part-time in center field, I think Luis Angel Acuna's ability to steal bags, play elite defense, and be a young spark plug for this lineup makes me think that he is going to be the best new artist for the Mets in 2025. Best new player, but we're going by Grammy Awards. Album of the year, it's got to go to Juan Soto. What Juan Soto is going to add to a team that was 2 wins from the pennant, I don't think should get overlooked because I think everyone looks at the contract and Mets haven't done anything since. Meanwhile, they've signed almost everyone. But Juan Soto, in terms of overall as a player, in terms of the guy behind him, the guy in front of him, the rest of the lineup, getting on base, hitting 40 homers, driving in 100, He does it all, and that's why he gets the full album. It's not a song. It's a record you listen to from the first track to the 15th track. That's going to be Juan Soto for the New York Mets. There's a reason why his WAR is high. There's a reason why he got the biggest contract in sports. So Juan Soto wins Album of the Year. Best duo. I'm going to give it to a young duo in Mark Vientos and Francisco Alvarez. Mark Vientos did not even play a full season and hit not only 27 homers, but he also was amazing in the postseason. He was clutch for the Mets in the playoffs. Mark Vientos in 111 games hit 27 homers. You extrapolate that to a full season, he has the chance to be a 40-homer hitter. So I don't think that's that surprising, putting him on the list as best duo. You might say Francisco Alvarez is a little surprising. I feel Francisco Alvarez is going to have a massive bounce back season. Alvarez hit 25 homers in 2023 in his first full year in 123 games. He only hit 11 in 2024. And I just have a feeling he's been working a lot this offseason to get back to the power hitter that he was and being a better overall player. I think the injuries last year beriddled him. I really think Francisco Alvarez is going to be back to that 25-homer hitter. And at the bottom of that lineup, with what he does defensively and the youthful exuberance he brings to this pitching staff, give me Vientos and Alvarez as the best duo. The song of the year, I just talked about it before, Clay Holmes. I think Clay Holmes is going to go from relief pitcher to starting pitcher and be an elite number 4. Now, number 4 meaning give me 3.5 ERA, give me 30 starts, give me 5 innings of 1 to 2 run ball each time you go out there. I think Clay Holmes is going to win Song of the Year. And like I said, oh my God, we got to give Record of the Year to Candelita. Even if he's off the Mets in 2025, we'll still be playing the song all season long. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Radio. Make sure you hit follow on my TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at Jake Brown Radio. Subscribe to my YouTube at Jake Brown Radio. And subscribe to this channel and smash that thumbs up right now on YouTube. And comment below, who wins your Mets Grammy Awards? And do you want Ronnie Mauricio to be an everyday player? The New York Mets in 2025. Comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. It's February 3rd, 2025. We'll see you tomorrow on February 4th right here on Mets Daily.